For this lesson, let's take a look at what UI objects we have available to us within a Watchkit app. Let's go ahead and create a new Xcode project. Choose Single View Application for the iOS app. Let's call this Interface Objects. Go ahead and click Next. Choose location to create the project. Alright, so at this point we've got our iOS app. Now let's go ahead and add our Watchkit extension. Go ahead and go to File, New, Target. Choose Apple Watch on the left under iOS and Watchkit app. Uncheck Include Notifications Seen. Click Finish. Activate, yes. All right. Go ahead and delete the tests folder on the left. Move to trash. We've got our three separate pieces of our Watchkit app. Let's look at, if you go into your Watchkit app, go into interface.storyboard. Now, the storyboard, excuse me, is where you'll want to put your controls and images that the user will interact with. Now, we have this thing on the bottom right over here, and it's called the object library. And if you go ahead and let's search for label. Label displays a static text string. Okay, so this is the way that we show text to the user. So let's go ahead and drag label onto our storyboard. Now you can see that it gives the default text of label. Go ahead and click it if it's not already selected, and come over here to the right side. Now if you look, we've selected the fourth view over, and this is called the Attributes Inspector. The first thing we can do is set the default text that will show up as soon as this view is loaded. So let's go ahead and say hello world. Click outside of it, and you'll see that it is reflected over here in the storyboard. One thing you can do is change the text color. So you can choose it from your recently used colors or from some defaults that Xcode gives you. You can also do other, which gives you a color picker. You can kind of change via sliders and get the text that you want. Excuse me, the color that you want. So let's go ahead and change this. Close it. You can also come in here and choose the color picker as well. It was on the left previously. Something else you can do is change the font. Okay. Now the font, they've given you some default styles that when you come into here and you select font, they'll give you different styles. So caption 1 looks like that. Caption 2 a little bit smaller. Footnote even smaller. Headline, subhead, body. Excuse me, body. Okay, you can also come up here and do system fonts, system bold, system italic, and you can also choose custom. When you choose custom, you're given a list of fonts that you can choose from and styles. So let's just go with, you can also specify the size, but let's just go with body for now. Click done. And let's talk about this min scale option here. So it's an advanced feature in that you are specifying the minimum amount of scaling or resizing that you will allow your text to be resized if another UI object needs more space. So it's out of a maximum of 1. So if you say 0.5, you're essentially saying that you'll allow that text to scale to a minimum size of 0.5, or excuse me, half of the original size. So that is min scale. If you come over here to alignment, we have the typical options of a left alignment, center alignment, justified text, or right alignment. And if you make your label a little bit bigger by dragging it in the storyboard, you can see these a little bit more visibly. Okay, lines, it's the maximum number of lines you want to allow. So say if I wanted to allow 3, I can add more text. How are you? I hope all is well. Let's see how far that gets us. Click outside of it. Okay, 3 lines so far. And then what happens after the 3rd line is that the text gets truncated. So this will show truncation. Okay, so you can see it gets cut off. Now if we were to add another line, it's not cut off as much. Add another, it wraps it. Okay, so that's what lines is for. And then you can also specify line height. And essentially gives you options for scaling and allowing how much you want to multiply the font height by on the default line height. I just go with default usually and leave it at that. Now, if you notice, each of these sections has a little plus over here, and this is a cool little feature for Watchkit specifically, where you can come in and you can say plus. And you can say on the 42mm watch, I want the text to say this, hello world 42mm. Okay. Now I want to specify text for the 38mm. So I'm going to do something similar. Hello world 38mm. Okay. And then what happens is when your watch is launched in each of these sizes, the default text for each will be what you type in here. And each of those pluses on each of the different attributes allows you to do that. So text color, you can do the same thing. So say you wanted it to be blue for some reason on 42mm and red on 38mm, you could do that. View down here allows you to set the alpha filter on this label. Hidden shows whether or not it's hidden on the user interface. Installed is similar to hidden, but it allows you to show whether or not it's actually visible in the UI tree. And you don't really need to worry about that at this point. That's a more advanced feature. Position allows you to show or move where the text. Let me show you what this is. Hello world. Position allows you to show, say, the actual, not the innards of the UI label, just label, but where it's located relative to, or where it's located horizontally, not as a whole, rather than the innards of the text. So center, left, right, and then also where it's positioned on the screen itself, whether it's centered, bottom, or top. Okay. Size, you can specify fixed width relative to container or to fit content. Okay. Same with height. Now, in just a few videos, I'll show you how you can programmatically change the text, but those are some of the basics of a label and the options that are given to you via the attributes inspector. And we'll show you, like I said, we'll show you how to do the programmatic changes on that, so that, say a user taps a button and you want the label to update. I'll get into that after I explain to you what a button is and how it works with an outlet and an action, but those will be in later videos.